These are the second day notes for lesson 9-8, solving systems of conics. We are starting on page 511 with problem C6. And there are G parts, but we're going to start it fairly slowly. So I would like you to do parts A, B, and C. Please pause the video and do them now. Welcome back. For part A, you should have recognized that it's an ellipse because the A and the B values, A is 9, B is 25. They're both positive, not the same number. For part B, you should have grouped things together correctly and completed the square, and your equation ends up x minus 4 squared over 25 plus y squared over 9 equals 1. Pause if you need to see this work. After you have written the equation correctly, you can draw the graph. The center is at 4, 0. The x radius is at 5, because it's the square root of 25. The y radius is 3, because it is the square root of 9. The focal radius is the square root of 25 minus 9, which is the square root of 16, which is 4. And when you draw the graph, you make sure that you go from the point 4, 0, which is your center, left and right 5, up and down 3, draw an ellipse. The focus points go the same direction as the longer radius. So they go left and right, just like X did. Part C says, show that the Earth is the focus of this ellipse. After you plot the two foci, you will see that one is at the origin, and the paragraph at the beginning of the problem says, Earth is at the origin. Therefore, Earth is at the focus. Pause again if you need to. You're now going to do parts D, E, and F. Read them carefully and do them, please. Welcome back. Hopefully you recognize that it was a hyperbola because A was 9, B was negative 15, opposite numbers, therefore hyperbola. Part E says to solve the system. When you try to solve this system, you might want to get rid of the x squareds, but there's still an x in the problem. You have to get rid of the y squareds instead. So I would multiply the top by 3 and the bottom by 5. And eliminate by addition. Again, pause as you need to. When you get to the quadratic, all three terms are divisible by 72, which makes it very easy to factor. And you get that x is 1 and x is 4 and also negative 1. After you find both x values, you have to plug it into one of the two equations. I would pick the bottom one, there's less things to plug it into. And when you plug in those two x values, you get some y values. You get y values of positive and negative 3 and also 0. So you have to write down all of your points. Your solution set is the point 4, 3, 4, negative 3, and negative 1, 0. Part F says to draw the graph. Before you can draw the graph, you have to fix the equation. It has to equal 1. So you have to do just enough math to make it equal 1. You should have that the center is 0, 0, the x distance is 1, and the y distance is the square root of 9/15, which is about 0.8. So your slope of your asymptotes is 0.8 over 1, which is roughly 4/5. I mean, we rounded something and then rounded that. And so you graph it on the same coordinate grid. 0, 0, left and right 1. Left 1, right 1. Asymptotes have a slope of 4/5. The two green curves are the curves, And then it says, check your answers. Are those 3 points the correct 3 points? So -1, 0 is over here. 4, 3 is up here. And 4, -3 is down there. So all 3 points do match as we thought they should. Part G says to find out exactly where you are because you have a line. So take a minute and try to figure out how you know where your line is. Please pause the video. Welcome back. I would just take the points and plug them in to see which one works instead of trying to solve. So if you plug in -1, 0, you get -3 equals 27. Which is not the right answer. If you plug in 4, 3, 12 minus 15, that's not 27. So you try the last one, 4, -3, 12 plus 15 equals 27. You are at location 4, -3. So let's practice some problems where elimination does not work. I need you to go back to page 504. Again, page 504. And we are going to start with problem number 14. You can still use elimination on. So please pause the video and do so. Welcome back. I would multiply the top one by a -1. So it would be -x squared plus 6y squared equals -34. 6y. And when I eliminated, I would get y squared plus 6y equals -9. You add it back over. And factor and get that y is -3. It's better to plug this answer into the more linear of your two equations. It gives you less answers. So if you plug -3 back into the problem, you get that x squared plus 18 equals 34. X squared is therefore 52, and x is plus or minus the square root of 52, which is 2 root 13 if you prefer. So your solution set is 2 root 13, -3, and -2 root 13, -3. Again, you should graph that to verify that it is correct. 18 cannot be solved by elimination. So let's start with 18 together. So you have to pick one of the two variables to solve for so that you can substitute. I will solve for x. So x equals 8 over y, and you will plug that into the first equation. So 64 over y squared plus 4y squared equals 68. We are solving by substitution. You squared the 8 and the y. Do we like working with fractions like this? Not so much. So an easy way to fix this is to multiply everything by y squared, because that is the denominator, the common denominator, the least common multiple of the denominator. So now we have 64 plus 4y to the fourth. I'll subtract the 68 over as I go. Minus 68y squared equals 0. All of those can be divided by 4. Yep, they can be. So let's divide them by 4 and put them in order. So we have y to the fourth minus 17y squared plus 16 equals 0. This is in quadratic form, so it can be factored. You just have y squareds in the front instead of y's. So it's y squared minus 16 and minus 1, because those are the numbers that multiply to 16, and add to negative 17. So they factor farther. Y minus 1, y plus 1, y minus 4, y plus 4. So y should equal 1, negative 1, 4, and negative 4. Then you take that and plug it into one of the two equations. The bottom one, of course, will be much simpler. xy equals 8. So if y is 1, x is 8. If y is negative 1, x is negative 8. If y is 4, x is 2. And if y is negative 4, x is negative 2. So there is the solution set for number 18. How about one more? 24. So the top equation is already solved for y. And the bottom equation has a y in it, so you should substitute. Please pause the video and solve this problem. Welcome back. So when you substitute it in, you end up with a negative x squared term, which I don't like, so I'm going to move everything to the right-hand side. So I have 2x squared. 2x plus 8x was 10x, so minus 10x. 15 minus 27 is negative 12. Again, that can all be divided by 2, so you might as well do so. X squared minus 5x minus 6, which you can factor. So x should equal 6 and negative 1. Plug this x value into an equation. I always pick the linear one. So if x is 6 and we're using 2x plus y equals 15, that's 12. Y would be 3. And if x is negative 1, that's negative 2. Y would be 17. That is the end of the notes for the day. So you have the homework, you have the review homework. Tomorrow is a review worksheet and the test is Friday. Have a great day.